Mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. The analysis of the three states is very quickly done by the Rishi over here, and in one mantra, in mantra number 3, the waking state is mentioned. In mantra number 4, the dream state is mentioned. And we were seeing mantra number 5, the deep sleep state. Yatra supto na kanchana kamam kamayate na kanchana swapnam pashyati tat sushuptam shushuptasthana eki bhutaha prajnana ghana eva anandamaya hi anandabhuka cheto mukhaha prajna Tritiya Padaha. So, Tritiya Padaha, the third part, Prajna over here, and Prajna Yatra Supto na Kanchana Kamam Kamayate. The deep sleep state is described over here, where the Sthula Sharira is completely withdrawn. Even though the Sthula Sharira being there, yet the awareness of the physical form is not there, because the subtle body is also withdrawn. The mind, the intellect, the ego and the memory, all four facets of the Antakarana, the subtle body, is also completely withdrawn. And when the Sthula Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira, when they are completely withdrawn, the Vasanamaya Kosha, the causal body, it being there, the subtle body being there, the Sthula Sharira, gross body being there, the Vasana cannot express itself, not because the Vasanas have disappeared, but because of the absence of the presence of the subtle body. The Vasanamaya Kosha, the desires cannot express themselves, and that is explained over here. Na kanchana kamam kamayate. The desires are not able to express themselves. Na kanchana swapnam pashyati. The subtle body, both the equipment, the mind and the intellect, is required. For the dream state, the mind is active, but rudimentary presence of intellect is there. The fine discriminative quality is not present. That is why in the dream state we even see dogs and animals talking to us. A pure animal form can appear even in the dream state, where even in the waking state, what is not possible is quite possible in the dream state because of the absence of the fine discriminative power of the intellect. It is only mind projecting, but that projection, there is not a monitor to project, to monitor the projection, and thus in dream state we experience unique dreams. And that is because of that. But nonetheless, the subtle body is there, and of course the ego is there to own up the experiences. And in this way, dream state is very unique. But over here, na kanchana swapnam pashyati, there is no dream, tat shushuptam. And of course, there is no dream, and the physical body, because even the awareness is withdrawn due to the withdrawal of the subtle body, the physical body also, the senses being there, the world of the objective reality is not perceived. And that is tat shushuptam. So, shushuptasthana eki bhutaha. In this deep sleep state, the deep sleep state is a state where eki bhutaha, there is only one mass prajnana ghana, one homogeneous mass of existence, one homogeneous mass of eva anandamaya. Anandamaya, and again this word is borrowed from Taittiriya Upanishad, Anandamaya Kosha. So over there the Pancha Kosha Vivek was done of the gross body, Annamaya Kosha, the Pranamaya Kosha, connection between the subtle and the gross, the Manomaya Kosha, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. And when we did Taittiriya Upanishad, we discussed that what is meant by Koshananda and Purnananda. This Koshananda, we came up with the basic 5 differences between the Koshananda and Purnananda. And when over here it is said eki bhuta prajnana gana eva anandamaya, he ananda book, it is the enjoyer of the ananda. So there is still a distinction between the enjoyer and the experience enjoyed. So there is a difference over here, and because of this difference of the enjoyer and the object of enjoyment, it is not Purna Advaita Avastha. And thus Koshananda separates itself from the Purnananda. So what is a simple, so over here first is in Koshananda, in this Anandamaya Kosha, a locus over here, it is the reflective consciousness which reflects the tendencies, the rudimentary tendencies. Over here it is not a reflective consciousness, it is original consciousness, and original consciousness has nothing to reflect except itself. So there is a reflection of the tendencies over here, and it is all by itself, that is Purnananda. So Atmananda and Koshananda. So over here Purnananda, it alone is. Second difference is the Koshananda, the Ananda which is experienced, because it is experience, the experience arrives and the experience departs. And the arrival and the departure of the experience, it is time bound. Over here that alone is, so there is no time bound. In Purnananda that alone is. But this experience over here, the joy over here, Ananda, joy, is subjected to arrival and departure. The joy of the self is absolute, it ever is. Then the joy over here in the joy in Anandamaya Kosha has gradation. When I say I like things, there is a gradation of things. I like sweets, but in the sweets I like laddu more than barfi. So there is a gradation bit of joy. Joy is there, but the joy, the quality of the joy has gradation. Because kamana, as the kamana, so is the gradation of the joy. So over here, the reflection has gradation. The reflective consciousness, which reflects the joy in this state, has gradation. Purnananda, Atmanand, no gradation, it alone is. The other difference is the experience over here, the joy of Koshananda, it is objectified. It is known. There is no objectification in Purnananda, in absolute bliss. You cannot objectify, but you have to claim it, you have to own it up as I am. In the objectification, it is known, but over here it is known other than me. Over here it is to be owned up that I am that, and over here it can be, the Koshananda can be attained via the desires. The desires are the ladder through which you can access Ananda, versus in the original reflective consciousness, there the access point is knowledge. It is to be known. You can only claim it if you know it, and you have to know, we have to know that I am that Ananda. So these basic differences are there, and that is why Eva Anandamaya, Maya, that Mayat Pratyaya in Sanskrit means filled with. So Anandamaya, Vijnanamaya, filled with. So if it is filled with, there is a receptacle in which we fill, and the receptacle that we fill over here is called kosha. So it is limited, and the limitations are measured by kamana. That is why it says na kanchana kamam kamayate. Kamana is there, so it is the kamana which is the receptacle which fills the joy over there. But over here in Purnananda there is nothing like that. So eva anandamaya hi ananda bhuka cheto mukhaha, that this ananda over here, it is a mouth or an access point for Chetana to express. Where does Chetana Shakti express itself? Chetana Shakti expresses itself in the waking state and in the dream state. It is the consciousness expresses, so the consciousness through the tunnel of this can express over here the Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira. Thus it is an access point of Chetana. The Chetana tunnels itself through this deep sleep state to reveal the waking state and to reveal the dream state. So in this way, Cheto Mukhaha, this is a very important word over here, and that is what is said, Pragnyaha Trutiya Padaha, because the Chaturtha, which is none other than pure consciousness, that Chaturtha over here through Cheto Mukhaha accesses all three of them. And in this way, this is the deep sleep state that we have seen, and in the deep sleep state, basically the same thing has been explained by Shankaracharya ji over here. Karikas. Yatra yasmin sthane kale va supto na kanchana swapnam pashyati na kanchana kamam kamayate. So he says the same idea he is repeating. The same. I'm trying to see if there are additional points over here. The next one we see. The next one is a little bit more description of this deep sleep state. Esha sarveshvaraha,
Esha sarveshvaraha,
Esha sarvajnaha,
Esha sarvajnaha,
Esho antaryami,
Esho antaryami,
Esha yoni sarvasya,
Esha yoni sarvasya,
prabhavapyayo hi bhutanam.
prabhavapyayo vibhutanam.
This is the only state, the deep sleep state. The waking state and the dream state are very easy to understand. And the reason why they are easy to follow and easy to understand is because there is an availability of the experience of duality which can be analyzed. But the presence of the duality in deep sleep state is in such a rudimentary form that the analysis depends upon the waking state, and in the waking state we can analyze in the dream state more, because in the waking state, the deep sleep state can be analyzed more, because the deep sleep state has absence of the dualistic mode of experience. The experience is there, but the experience is known only at the junction of when I come out of it and I have entered the waking state, and I realize when I carry the information over from the deep sleep to the waking state, I realize that there was an absence of objective reality. And to clarify that, this is the state where Upanishadic Rishi felt, Shruti felt, that this state requires one additional mantra to clarify it. And thus this particular mantra, over here it is said, Esha Sarveshvaraha, this is the Lord of all. Esha Sarvajnaha, he is the knower of all. Esha Antaryamihi, he is the very inner controller of all. Esha Yonihi, it is the womb it is the source of all. Esha yonihi sarvasya prabhavapyayo. It is the womb which is the source of both the creation and the disappearance, the dissolution of it, of all beings. So that consciousness identified with the consciousness in the third part. Remember, in the waking state, the waking state waker utilizes the waking state equipment to experience the waking world. So there are two experiences of the waker. The waker objectifies the equipment, and with the equipment the world is known. So the waker, the perceiver, feeler, thinker, waker realizes, I am awake, so it recognizes there is a mind. With this mind which presides over the five senses of perception, now the body which is aware, through the body, the equipment, it awares the objective reality. So I went through this yesterday, that the waker identified that consciousness, identified with the anatma sharira, identifies and realizes and experiences the anatma prapancha. This atma tattva, the absolute awareness, consciousness, the self, identifies with the not self equipment and experiences the not self objects. The self identifies with the not self mind intellect, and it experiences the not self dream world, which is within. Waker is bahish prajna, the dreamer is anta prajna, is the inner awareness. So now the deep sleep state. The deep sleep state, over here this mantra comes, Esha Sarveshvara, Esha Sarvagnya, when it is said that it is Esha Sarveshvara, Esha Sarvagnya, Esha Antaryami, when it is said that, where is this? So the deep sleeper is known as prajna. I had it was in the fifth mantra, prajna, prayena agnya, more or less ignorant, and identified with the anatma kosha, karanmaya kosha. This self identified with this equipment, it becomes prajna. But then, just like in the waking state, the equipment is there, and with the equipment I aware the objective reality. The waker awares the waking state. The dreamer awares the dream state, the dream. The deep sleeper awares what? The deep sleeper awares Ishvara. And that is what is explained over here. The anatma body is Vishwa, Tejas and Prajna. And the Anatma world is Vaishvanara, which is the Virat world, and then the subtle world Hiranyagarbha, and the subtle world is presided by whom? Ishvara. So in the deep sleep state, there is an experience of Anatma world, but the Anatma world is Ishvara. And that is what this mantra specifically brings over here to explain Ishvar. This is the power of Mandukya, that even Ishvar is aware. Even the Ishvar becomes an experience. And if it is an experience, there is an arrival of Ishvar and there is a departure of Ishvar. And if I can experience the arrival of Ishvara and a departure of Ishvara, I am above Ishvara. And that is the power of Mandukya. When it takes the Turiya, it even negates out the Ishvara. That Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Vishwa are experiences which are negated. Remember, I said in the beginning that this Upanishad deals with the Mithya Prapancha experience. And it is the experience through which Brahman is accessed. That Ayam Atma Brahma. How experience over here is brought about, and waking state negated, dream state negated, deep sleep state. The colossal power behind the total projection, Esha Sarveshwaraha. That complete void is from where the entire, it is said, Sarvasya Prabhava Vapyayo Yoni is the womb of the whole universe. And Esha, this, it is an experience, this void is, this void which is experienced, the void experience over here is Ishvara. And thus it is, so when it is said that Esha Sarveshwaraha, Esha Sarvagnaha, it is none other than the intelligent cause, isn't it? It is Sarveshwaraha, it's a Lord of all. Then Sarvagnya, it is all knower. It is the intelligent, Ishvara becomes the intelligent cause of the universe. And when it is said that Esha Sarvasya Yonihi Prabhava Vapyayo, he is the material cause. So instrumental and material, intelligent and material cause is this Ishwar, and I have experienced that. The material cause of the universe and the intelligent cause of the universe. He is all knower because he is all intelligence. He is all intelligent, and he alone who knows all is the one from where he is the all knower. So when we say that intelligent cause, I'm giving a little bit more explanation using the waking state to explain this little bit more. When we say an intelligent cause, that means as a waker, I become the source of the dream world? How did the projecting tendency arise from? Yad jagrat avasthayam yad kinchit pashyati shrunoti tad eva swapna avasthayam, that alone what is seen in the waking state, dream state, prapancham avabhasayate, it projects in the dream state. So whatever is seen in the dream state, waking state, that becomes the fodder, that becomes the source from where I start the projection of the dream state. I cannot project my own individual things in the dream state because of the lack of societal norms and whatnot. I may have all these desires, but I can express all of them in the dream state, but the desires are expressed through the knowledge acquired from the waking state. So then the material cause. So when it is said the material cause, waker is the ground of the resolution of the dream state. Where does the dream state come to an end? The dream state comes to an end when I wake up. So when I wake up, the waker is into which the dream finds its end. And the waking state is where it becomes an intelligent cause to project the dream. So from the waking state, dream is projected, and into the waking state, the dream state comes to an end. In the same way, this Esha Sarvajna, Esha Sarveshwaraha, from him starts the projection of the entire universe. And when it is said that he is the womb, the yoni of the whole projection, sarvasya prabhavapyayo, the whole projection which came out from the Ishwar, it comes and resolves back into the Ishwar. So the universal projection is contained in Ishvara. So the whole universe is resolved into Ishvara. And that Ishvara I experienced. The dream state can be resolved only in the waker. In the same way, the outside total waking world can only be resolved in the Ishvara. It is the Ishvara that starts from where the world is projected. And it is into the Ishvara the world comes to an end. This point is very important to understand, and I know it is very difficult to understand. Okay, an example. The ocean is the source of all waves, isn't it? So, the source of all waves, ocean alone, creates, and the waves arise. But into what does the waves disappear? Into the ocean itself. So a wave is nothing but water. But that water, when it rises, it is called a wave. That water rises where? It rises in the ocean. It stays in the ocean, and the whole wave, when it crashes into the ocean. In the same way, what is said over here in the Ishvara, when it is said that he is Sarveshvara Sarvagnya, he's Sarveshvaraha Sarvagnya of what? Vishva, the world. And where is the world? The world, in the second line it is said, Esha Yonihi Sarvasya Prabhavapyayo. The whole world is like a wave of creation came and that wave of creation disappeared. But where? In the Ishvara. And he's using the example of an individual waking dream, that the dreamer, where did the dreamer come from? The dreamer has no dream reality apart from the waker. The waker himself becomes the dreamer, but for the waker to become a dreamer, the waker must die. And when the waker dies, the same waker is known as the dreamer. But where did the dreamer get the stuff to dream about? It got the stuff from the waking state. Because without the waking state, I cannot dream. I would not have idea of how to dream. Because I have seen those objects, now I can project. I cannot dream about Kailasha, number one, if I have not seen Kailash. Number two, have not heard about Kailash, if I have not seen a picture of Kailash. We have dream about Kailash because those people whose Ishta Devata is Lord Shiva is very much present in the waking mind. So that same waking mind, when it becomes the dream mind, the stuff from the waking mind is there. Kailash, 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 Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Mantra is done in the waking state. So when doing mantra, the person falls asleep, what remains? Tendencies from the waking are projected. So the stuff that the dreamer dreams arrives from waking, and that is projected. These are big mind-boggling topics, but we have to clear it before we enter Turiya. The waking, dream and deep sleep, we have to nail it and know it, because the whole Upanishad rests on the 7th mantra, which is Turiyam. With this 6, we are done with Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha and Shushupti Avastha. So over here, deep sleep state is a state of the experience of the Ishvarahood. And that Ishvarahood, because it is experienced, Ishvara is considered. Now please don't think you don't have to go to the temple and bow down to Shiva. Ishvara is tuchha vastu. That is not what is said over here. From the standpoint of Turiyam, Ishvara is objectified. This is all the Upanishad is saying. That does not mean I become arrogant and then, who do I need to worship? Please, this is not what the Upanishad is saying. For better understanding of Turiyam, and so that I grow beyond in my sadhana. Upasana is very important. Upasana clears the mind and resolves the mind into dhyana avastha. But I have to pierce the dhyana avastha. I have to pierce through the Ishvara, and this is where a guru arrives. and even pierces the third eye of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa and says you have to go beyond Devi, because Devi is Ishwar for him. And when he came, Totapuri came, he initiated Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. He was a great yoga avatar of Devi. He really didn't need, but he founded a great order of Advaita Vedantin monks, and he wanted to set this proper understanding and proper initiation that sampradaya has to be established. And thus the teacher over there, even Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, and said go beyond the Devi, and he pierces through that. It is a piercing of the third state. It is piercing through the Ishvara. Esha Sarveshwaraha, Esha Sarvagnaha, Esha Antaryami, Esha Yonihi, Esha Sarvasya Prabhavapyayo hi Bhutanam. This will happen. I tell you, this will only happen out of Ishwar Krupa. We cannot pierce Ishvara through Atma Bal. This is Krupa Patra. Bhagavan, when he wills, Jagrat Avastha, Sushupti Avastha, Swapna Avastha, when we do in Jagrat Avastha proper sadhana and proper pravilapanam, meaning dissolving of the waking state, properly understood with sadhana, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasan. This deep nididhyasan is actually the penultimate state of deep sleep state is extreme dhyana avastha, where Ishwarhood is experienced. It is known. And that same Ishwar blesses us and allows us to go beyond Ishvara. And that is why then the seventh mantra, we will be able to recognize Turiya. Remember I said Purnananda, Atmananda, it is to be known and owned. It will be known and owned only when Ishvara says go. The green light comes from here. This is why it is very important. Now Gaudapada Acharya ji writes 7 karikas to explain this, properly. The explanation now starts of the karikas. Bahishprajño vibhurvishvo Yanta prajnastu taijasaha Gana prajnastatha prajnaha Eka eva tridha smrutaha. So Shankaracharya ji has written Bhashya. What is Bhashya? Bhashya is complete word-to-word explanation of the mantras or shlokas. Bhagavad Gita shlokas. Upanishads mantras. And in Brahma Sutras, Sutrani. Complete each word and a deep explanation of that. Karika is in a meter form. A shloka is composed not to give word-to-word meaning of the mantras, but to take the essence of the mantra and commit the essence of the mantra to memory. That is the purpose of Karika. Because when it is composed in a chandas, it is very easy to memorize. Easy to memorize Bhagavad Gita than Upanishads. Because Upanishad, the mantras, they vary in syllables and chandas and everything. So, Karikas over here, the whole Karika of Gaudapada Ji, he composes in Anushtup Chandas. So, the Jagrata Swapna Shushupti, in very beautiful meter way, he summarizes so that we can commit to memory. So, Bahishprajno Vibhurvishvaha, just like this can be committed to memory, and when we commit this to memory, we have a understanding of what the mantra has said. So the thought process of the mantra is actually what we are committing to memory over here. So Bahish Prajna Vibhuhu Vishvaha. The consciousness which is external, again what is that? Waker. Bahish Prajna, waker. Vibhuhu Vishvaha. Vibhuhu, he is all pervading. And he is Vishva. Vaishvanara, he is experiencing. So over here, Bahish Prajna, the waker, the identity of the waker is given. Who is this waker? He is Vibhuhu, he is Vishva. That is all. So identified that consciousness, identified with the equipment. The equipment over here is Vishva or Vibhuhu. Hyanta pragnastu taijasaha. The dreamer. Anta prajna, the inner. Whereas the one, Anta prajna, the one who is conscious of the inner world, he is known as Taijas. Ghana prajnas tatha prajnaha. And the Ghana prajnaha, over here, deep sleeper. Ghana, deep. Prajna, over here, prayena agnya. Prajna. He is known as Prajna. He is more or less ignorant because of an enveloped in deep tamas. And that person has withdrawn into it, and he is known as Prajna. So this is with respect to the body. So the Anatma, three bodies are talked about, and the Anatma, three bodies are: outward consciousness is Vishva, inner consciousness is Taijas, and deep withdrawal is Prajna. That is all which is said over here. Eka eva tridha smrutaha. But all three of them, tridha, in all of them, all of the three states, ekaha eva, it is one consciousness alone. When it identifies with the waker, that waking consciousness is known as Vibhu or Vishva. The dream consciousness, that one consciousness identified with the dream body becomes Taijasa, and that same one consciousness identified with the deep sleep equipment, Karanmaya Kosha, this Karanmaya Sharira over here is known as Prajna. That is why Eka Eva Tridha Smrutaha. One appearing as three, as though Tridha Smrutaha, as though it is three. So, over the idea is that the life-giving principle, consciousness, awareness is one. That one appears as the waker. When the waking is over, when it identifies with the dream equipment, it becomes the dreamer. When it identifies with the deep sleep experience, deep sleep equipment, it becomes the dreamer. That is all this Karika says. Continuing, Dakshina Dakshinakshi Mukhe Vishwo
Dakshinakshi Mukhe Vishwo
Manasyantastu Taijasaha
Manasyantastu Taijasaha
Akashe cha hrudi prajnyaha
Akashe cha hrudi prajnyaha
Tridha dehe vyavastitaha.
Tridha dehe vyavastitaha.
So, Dakshina Akshi Mukhe Vishwaha. Dakshina Akshi Mukhe. Dakshina, right. Akshi, eye. So, the right eye, Vishwa. The Vishwa works from the right eye. Now, what is this? This is mentioned in Chandogya Upanishad. So, when somebody is trying to understand the concepts born out of the mantras of the Upanishad, you can tell that Gaudapada Acharya ji has done extensive study. So when somebody goes to compose this Karika, they have done Prasthanatrayi Adhyanan and they've understood what is said where, and those ideas are brought to fill in the gaps to help understand concepts. That's why over there in Chandogya Upanishad, right eye is considered to be the Surya Nadi. Suryo yatha sarva lokasya chakshuhu. Sun, which is the witness of the whole universe. So thus, that is Vishwa. That is what is meant by it. The left is the Chandra Nadi. Chandra Nadi is identified as the Jiva. And Surya is understood as a totality. So one is a total mind and the other one is a individual mind. So over here totality is talked about. So the waker is awakened to what? Totality. What is totality? Right eye, Surya, that is. So these are, concepts born out of a study of Upanishads. And Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, maximum upasanas are given in those to help. Why upasanas? So that I can clarify my understanding, and upon clarified understanding I can follow one instruction, at least one instruction properly, to harness the potential which exists in the equipment to pierce through and arrive at the Turiya Sthan. That is all. So, Dakshinakshi Mukhe Vishwaha, then Anta Manasi tu Taijasaha. Again, the inside mind, Taijasa. He did not use left eye. Left eye, if he had used, it would be the waking mind. He is not interested in the waking mind, he wants the dream eye. That's why we have to be very careful. Somebody may say, why did he not use left eye? That would be the waking mind. But this is a dream mind. Remember, the dreamer identifies with the dream mind, not the waking mind. So that is why anta manasaha tu taijasaha akashe cha hridi prajnaha, and the vast open space of pure void. Where is that? It is the Hridaya Kuhara Madhye. It is the space of the heart. Hrudi Akashe Prajnaha Tridha Dehe Vyavistitaha. These are the distinct places where the three avasthas are experienced. The right eye, waking world. The inside mind, the dream state. And in the vast expanse of the heart is where the deep sleep state is experienced. So the locus, place. In the first karika, it was the equipment. So with equipment in a place, an experience takes place, is it not? Where does the Mandukya Upanishad study experience takes place? In Sundaram at 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. So time, place for an experience to happen. And if you are not here, can that experience be known? No. So the equipment, minimum body is required for the experience. That is why in the last shloka, see, there is a thought build up in the karikas. Don't miss out on that. This is born out of reflection. So what was the overall theme? Not just the waker, the dreamer, and the deep sleeper. It was the waking, the dream, and the deep sleep. Without the equipment, experience cannot happen. Now the experience has to have a locus. So the locus, right eye, the inside mind, and the Hridaya Akash. So location came. Now the third one, we will see this tomorrow. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.